Listen to The Lady or the Tiger by Frank R. Stockton, Level B1, Oxford Reading University.
In the old days, there lived a half-barbaric king who was as progressive in his ideas as he was wild and cruel. The king had a powerful imagination and unlimited authority. This allowed him to turn any of his fantasies, however odd or silly, into reality. He weighed up every decision very carefully, but once he made up his mind to do something, nothing could stop him. Of course, the king was very glad when everything went according to his plan. However, he was even more pleased whenever a problem occurred. Nothing was as pleasant to him as solving problems. He ordered his servants to build a public arena in the center of the city. The arena served as a kind of court for the worst crimes. On a certain day, people gathered to watch the trial. The king sat on his throne high above the arena. When he gave a signal, an iron gate opened, and the man charged with a crime walked out into the open space. On the opposite side, there were two doors that looked absolutely the same. The suspect had to walk directly to one of the doors and open it. He was free to choose either of them. Nothing could guide or influence him but chance. Behind one door was a horrible, hungry tiger. If the suspect opened that door, it proved him guilty. In that case, the tiger jumped at the criminal and consumed him whole. Women were hired and placed around the arena to cry over the killed criminal when the whole thing was done. Behind the other door was a lady. The king personally chose the most suitable one. If the suspect opened that door, he was proved innocent. He was then awarded his prize. The lady was to become his legal wife. The celebration took place at once, right in the arena, and the cheerful audience watched the innocent man lead his bride home. It didn't matter whether the criminal already had a family or a romantic partner, or whether the chosen lady was engaged to another man. The king was very proud of his system because it was perfectly fair. Sometimes the tiger came out, other times the lady. The suspect himself was responsible for his future. It was impossible to escape the punishment or the prize in the king's arena. The event never failed to entertain the audience. Every time they came to the arena, they didn't know if a pleasant or frightening sight was in store for them. The king had a daughter, a girl of incredible beauty and strong character. She was in love with one of the king's young servants. He was the bravest and the most well-mannered man of the kingdom. The princess and the servant were very happy till the day the king became aware of their relationship. He had no doubt as to what he had to do. The young man was taken prisoner and soon sent to the king's arena. The king was looking forward to the day of his trial. After all, that man had been brave enough to fall in love with the king's daughter. The king ordered his servants to find the most dangerous tiger. It took him a lot of time to find the most impressive bride. He had to examine all the young ladies throughout the country. On the day of the trial, people from the farthest reaches of the land gathered in the arena. Those who couldn't make it inside crowded against the outside wall. The king was in his seat, looking at the doors that were so frightening in their perfect similarity. When everyone was seated, the king gave the signal, and the iron gate opened. The princess's lover, a tall, handsome man, walked into the arena. A silent wave of excitement and horror rolled over the audience. Most of the people were unaware that such a lovely man lived in the city. No wonder the princess was attracted to him. It would be a pity if he died such a horrible death. The man walked to the center of the arena and turned sharply to the king's party. As the custom was, he greeted the king politely, keeping his head low. But in fact, it wasn't the king that interested him. His eyes were fixed on the princess who sat next to her father. Ever since it was announced that her lover should present himself in the king's arena, she could think of nothing else. She used all her power and force of character to do a thing nobody had done before. The princess learned behind which door the tiger was. Moreover, she found out everything about the young man's bride-to-be. She was the loveliest young lady in the king's court, and the princess hated her. She had frequently seen the young lady throw admiring looks at her lover, and sometimes it seemed to her that he returned them gladly. The princess was jealous and considered that lady her enemy. The princess's lover raised his head. They exchanged looks, and he understood that she knew the secret of the doors. He knew her character well, so he never doubted that she would find it out. The only thing that bothered him was whether she could tell him which door to choose. But the very moment he looked at her, he was aware that she could. He asked her silently with a single look into her eyes, "Which door?" She understood him at once, as if he had shouted his question out loud for everyone to hear. Her hand rested upon a cushion before her seat, and she raised it to move it slightly to the right. He was the only one who looked at her. All others had fixed their eyes upon him, held their breath, and stopped their hearts from beating. The man turned around and headed across the arena confidently. He walked up to the door on his right and opened it. Now, the point of the story is this. Did the tiger come out of that door, or did the lady? The more we think about it, the harder it is to tell. What was on the princess's mind? If she had already lost her lover, who was going to get him? Many times, she had horrible dreams about her lover being eaten alive by a violent tiger. But much more often, she had seen him open the other door. Her heart burned as she saw him run up to that lady who was standing there with red cheeks and a gentle smile on her lips. She saw him cry with happiness and heard people's cheerful shouts, among which nobody could hear her crying. Shouldn't he die at once and wait for her in the peaceful afterlife? But still, it must be absolutely horrible to die in the sharp teeth of the tiger. It took her 1 second to point at the door, but she had been thinking about it for many days and nights. She knew that he would ask her, and she made her decision. When the moment came, she simply moved her hand to the right. Had she led him to certain death or married life? This mystery remains unsolved. Therefore, we leave it to you to decide. Which came out of the door, the lady or the tiger?
Learning English is boring? Try learning with your favorite movie characters. English courses, interactive lessons with scenes from famous movies and TV series, best-selling books and word games, all in one place. EWA app. Try app.ewa.com. Now, did you like this video? Hit the like button and subscribe to get more audiobooks like this. And now, here's another awesome English story.